I don't know how many times we're gonna keep on doing this, man. Okay, in my mind, I kind of do know we're gonna make videos like these maybe every 2 days or so until July 1st, because that's just how hockey works, man. That's all we gotta go off of here, because Elliotte Friedman on the Jeff Merrick Show had himself some extra comments from earlier this morning talking about the Vancouver Canucks. Firstly, he thinks that Elias Lindholm is out. Secondly, he thinks that Nikita Zadorov is most likely out, but he's not ready to pronounce that one officially done just yet. And then thirdly, there is a framework, he thinks, of a Tyler Myers deal. So, I get it, you know. Friedman's going out there talking about similar things we have talked about before. We're always talking about Lindholm. We're always talking about Zadorov. We're always talking about Myers. This isn't really necessarily new, but hearing it from Friedman, it is an update that is worth hearing because he is like the main guy, I would say, when it comes to NHL-related insider information. So let's go out there and talk about each of these three things, as well as respond to that point that was discussed over here by Thomas, a repeat of the playoff bubble season. Now, I totally get why it is that he's saying this, but I disagree with that notion as well. So let's go out there and talk about each of these three dudes first before diving into the claims that the Canucks are kind of repeating their mistakes from 2020. Elias Lindholm, not surprised here. Did Elite Prospects just sign me out of their website again? Yeah, they did. That is so bad, dude. This always happens too. Elite Prospects, why are you always signing me out? I had to log back in yesterday in order to do the entire thing, but either way, all Elite Prospects woes aside, Elias Lindholm is requesting too much darn money. That's it, plain and simple. He had 12 points in 26 games played, not great in the regular season, awesome in the playoffs, but this is a guy who turned down, I think it was like $70 million earlier in his days with Calgary. Now he's turning down apparently $49 million with the Vancouver Canucks. Lindholm wants the bag, and a team like Boston or whatever might go out there and be willing to give that to him. Plus, of course, a better opportunity higher up in the lineup. Of course, Elias Lindholm was fantastic alongside of Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. But if he's playing first line with David Pastrnak in B-Town, you could understand why he would want to do that instead. Plus, get a lot more money as well. Yeah, seems like a no-brainer in my opinion. But for Lindholm, this is a player that the Vancouver Canucks acknowledged that he was a rental when they acquired him. Sure, there were always intentions within the Canucks to say, okay, we could sign this guy if we really wanted to. We have the option to do that, but it will depend on the price, and the price is not one that they want to pay. Now, when it comes to the trade price, what exactly they was that they acquired Lindholm for, can I see that here? I'm signed out of Elite Prospects, so maybe that might not show up. Okay, it's over here. I need a free account to go to the transfer URL. Are you kidding me? Elite Prospects, stop logging me out of your website, bro. But the Canucks traded away a bunch of stuff. Kuzmenko, they traded away Brustevich, they traded away Yermo, they traded away a first, they traded away a conditional third. There was a lot in there, and I recalled that off the top of my head, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But Elias Lindholm, I get it, he was a rental piece, and those pieces that the Canucks gave up, you could say that they were not the most important. I say that with a really big drag, because that first-round pick could have been nice, but then again, the Canucks aren't really going to do much with a 20-plus first-round pick in the next 2-3 years or so, considering their cup contending window is kind of right now. But Lindholm was one of the guys that was added on as extra depth in the rental department. He's probably gone. Sayonara, Elias Lindholm. Goodbye. Now, on to the other name that was discussed over here. Nikita Zadorov, most likely out, but Friedman is not ready to rule it out just yet. This has been a lot of the same we have heard over the past few days, how Zadorov is willing to stay in Vancouver. He likes it here in Vancouver. He wants to be in Vancouver, but at a discount that the Vancouver Canucks feel is not far enough. If Zadorov is willing to get $6 million on the open market and his discount to stay in Vancouver is 5.5, that is just too much for the Vancouver Canucks. He'd have to go down to 4, maybe 3.75 in order for the Canucks to say, okay, yeah, let's do it, slam dunk signing right there. Zadorov is in the best position of his career, honestly. Like, he has made such an incredible impact with the Vancouver Canucks blue line that he could get the most money he'll ever get on any of his contracts ever on this upcoming deal. Should he go to free agency, and should he sign with a team like, I don't know, Toronto or something. Give him $6 million a year, allow him to be an absolute monster on your blue line. Hopefully you get this version of Zadorov, the playoff Zadorov that was scoring goals and points like crazy, rather than this version of Zadorov that had 14 points in 54 games played. Nothing wrong with this version of Zadorov, but this guy definitely was not a $6 million caliber player. This guy, you could say he was. But the Vancouver Canucks are not going to go down that path. They're not going to trade, or excuse me, they're not going to sign Zadorov to a $6 million deal. But when it comes to big dudes on their blue line that they could keep around, Friedman says there is a framework, in his opinion, of a Tyler Myers deal. Probably going to be a lot less than $6 million as well. That guy's coming off of a contract that was huge. He already made his bag. What Nikita Zadorov is trying to do, his maximum value contract in free agency in 2024, yeah, Tyler Myers already did that when he was signed by the Vancouver Canucks back in 20 whatever it was. Jim Benning, thank you very much. But Tyler Myers had a pretty good season, all things considered. He didn't produce the same amount of points as Zadorov did in the playoffs, but the way he was able to shut things down defensively, his physicality, he was all up in there. It's no surprise that the Vancouver Canucks want to bring a guy like Tyler Myers back. Plus, he had his most productive season as a Vancouver Canuck this year. 29 points, 77 games played, awesome. The point-per-game number actually I think was a bit better in this season, 2020-2021, but still, Myers has been great. And I think there's a lot more of a positive sentiment from fans in regards to Myers compared to before. But what I also wanted to do to end off this video was talk about this idea right here. This is a repeat of the playoff bubble offseason. And the reason I don't think that's the case here is because of a reply by... How am I going to read that? Azar? Yeah, Azar. Let's go out there and say... The reason this is not really the same as the playoff bubble season is because in that offseason, the Vancouver Canucks let players walk who got very reasonable contracts in free agency. Tanev and Toffoli both got low $4 million at fair term, and the Canucks should have kept them. Zadorov and Zadorov and Lindholm want too much money. Letting them walk is the smart move long term. And I think that's a very easy way to sum it up. Jacob Markstrom probably was not going to re-sign in Vancouver to the dollar amount that the Calgary Flames gave him. Canucks probably could have given Tanev and Toffoli the money that they got, honestly. We were all pretty pissed off about that. Remember those days, 2020? They got signed by Calgary and Montreal, and the Canucks fans were freaking out. I was freaking out. We made videos about it, and everybody in the comment section was calling for Jim Benning's head for not signing these guys and quote-unquote running out of time. They ran out of time with Troy Stecher, too. They didn't sign him either. So Jim Benning had a bunch of mistakes in that time frame. They were easy contracts. They could have been done with Vancouver, but with these deals, Zadorov $6 million, Elias Lindholm $8-9 million, Canucks are not going to touch that. They're not even going to sniff that. They're not even in the same room as that. They're not going to get any sort of exposure to that kind of thing. And they're going to be better for it because Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford are going to use that money to get other players that are more impactful at the same dollar amounts or maybe even a little bit less. Who really knows? Jake Guentzel, if he signs that to $8 million, $9 million, fine. Awesome. Jake Guentzel in Vancouver would be awesome. Elias Lindholm to $9 million, sorry. I don't think that helps the Canucks at all. You could talk about Zadorov and the $6 million that he wants being allocated to different parts of the lineup there. I have faith in Rutherford and Allvin. I'm getting my gyms mixed up here. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Elliotte Friedman update about Elias Lindholm, Zadorov, and Tyler Myers. Nothing really new here. It's just kind of the same as what we've been hearing, but of course it is the most recent update, so we gotta go out there and talk about it. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.